supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of the station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend anyone, and we insist that you refrain from any such statements.
Fellow citizens, near and far, join NewRish Nital on Sugar City 90.3 for Fear No Favor.
Where is one? Where is the answer? Man, no runner come out for war.
Tune in to 90.3 on your FM dial. Log on to SugarCityFMSankits.com or download Simple Radio app from the Google Play Store. And join NewRish Nital every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. as NewRish Nital tackles the issues and take your call. Fear No Favor. Every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sugar City 90.3 FM.
See that's the country is yours, all yours, still yours. Would you stand up and see your country dying and never lend a helping hand? Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Administration, wrecking all and no. I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Good evening and welcome to Fear No Favor. Tonight I have the distinguished guest, the personal professor. Welcome to Fear No Favor.
Good night, Mr. Nital, and thank you very much. Good night to everyone out in Radio Land. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, and we're going to discuss a few things. But I think that I just want to take maybe 3-4 minutes out to let the general public listen to something in reference to Rastafarianism, because a lot of people don't quite understand. We hear people talk about it, but the general public at times they're still a little confused as to where this thing started, where we are, what year it started, and those stuff. So what I would do, I would get straight into a little history. It will just take about 2 3 minutes. So if you could allow me to do that, I'll have to maybe calm this down like that. Let me see. Just bear with us a bit. Review.
Rastafarianism. The roots of Rastafarianism can be traced to the 18th century, when Ethiopianism and other movements that emphasized and idealized Africa began to take hold among black slaves in the Americas. For those who had been converted to Christianity, the Bible offered hope through such passages as Psalm 68:31, foretelling of how princes shall come out of Egypt and Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto God. The ethos was strengthened through the late 19th century rise of the modern Pan-African movement and particularly the teachings of Jamaican-born Marcus Garvey, who reportedly told his followers to look to Africa where a black king shall be crowned, he shall be the Redeemer. Additionally, the 1920s brought such influential proto-Rastafarian texts as the Holy Piby and the Royal Parchment Scroll of Black Supremacy to Jamaica. Haile Selassie and the Rise of Rastafarianism. Batman Archive/Getty Images. Emperor Ras Tafari. On November 2, 1930, Ras Tafari Makanan was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia. Believed to be a descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, Selassie assumed the titles of King of Kings, Lord of Lords and the had been emphasized by Garvey. Jamaican preachers began promoting the ruling authority of Selassie over King George V. Jamaica was then a colony of England, and by the mid-1930s the Ethiopian emperor was regarded by followers as the living embodiment of God. Although no formalized central church materialized, the budding factions of Rastafarianism found common ground through their belief in a lineage that dated to the ancient Israelites, black superiority, and the repatriation of the diaspora from the oppressive land of Babylon to Africa. Their movement reflected a range of influences, including Old Testament instructions on avoiding certain foods and a local belief in the spiritual powers of marijuana. Preachers such as Robert Hines, Joseph Hibbert, and Archibald Dunkley achieved prominence in the decade, but to many scholars the most important figure in early Rastafarianism was Leonard Howell. A former member of Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, Howell attracted a large following after returning from extensive travels to Jamaica in 1932, and outlined the nascent movement's principles with the publication of The Promise Key circa 1935. Considered a dangerous, subversive figure by the Jamaican government, Howell was arrested several times and his followers subjected to persecution. Nevertheless, he founded the Ethiopian Salvation Society, (S), in 1939, and the following year he created a Rasta commune known as Pinnacle. Set in the mountains of St. Catherine, Pinnacle became an autonomous community for thousands that cultivated marijuana for its spiritual sessions and economic sustainment. However, its reliance on the illegal crop also provided an excuse for authorities to crack down on the community, and Pinnacle's residents endured a series of raids. In May 1954, police arrested more than 100 residents and destroyed some 3 tons of marijuana, effectively wiping out the commune. New developments. In the late 1940s, a radical version of Rastafarianism, known as the Youth Black Faith, emerged from the slums of the Jamaican capital of Kingston. A precursor to the existing Nyabinghi Mansion, or branch, the Youth Black Faith became known for an aggressive stance against authorities. Additionally, they introduced some of the features that became
Started. Okay, let us leave that. We get a bit of the history. Now we get into our stuff for tonight. So tell the general public why we are here this evening before we get into the sum and substance of our
Oh,
session.
this year marks the 132nd Outstrong of His Imperial Majesty. And so we decided, in the Caribbean islands, we decided that we will try to do even 1 month of celebrations and education and reminder to the people that Rasta is still here, part of the community. We have contributed and still are, and are willing to always be contributing to the society. By the way of life that we have chosen, irrespective of the locks, the way of life that we have chosen, like you heard the person say just a while ago, it is partly spiritual, nutritional, loving, kindness, and uprightness that we preached from the very onset. Rasta came to the Caribbean, as he said, from Africa. Most people believe that Rasta is a Jamaican thing. But if you go back as far as the 1400s and 1500s, you're going to find people who have locks looking like mine, looking, well, if you want to say worse than mine, because they don't look bad, but people categorize things. There were people whose knowledge of the what they would call civilization did not affect their hairstyle. Unlike today, the hairstyle came from Africa, but it was brought to Jamaica when Her Majesty was fighting the infidel, the Italians, who had tried to invade Ethiopia a second time after they having been chased out of Ethiopia in 1896 in the Battle of Adwa by Her Majesty's grandfather, so to speak. They came back and they tried to enslave Ethiopia because Ethiopians had always been the only African nation that hadn't been invaded, occupied, or colonized. And so the people in Ethiopia, the young guys in Ethiopia, decided that they will not comb their hair, they will not follow the practices of the Western world until something was resolved with their country. So just to make that clear. There's another point which is very controversial, and I would like Mr. Nital to say this here tonight. He said Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey did a lot of work when it came to blackness, African history and knowledge, repatriation, and so on. But there is a little problem right there. Marcus Garvey was born in St. Anne's in Sandy Point in August of 1887. He was taken to Jamaica 2 years later by his uncle, a man who owned what is now called Garvey's estate. So that point is very important. Now, it ain't taking anything from what he has done, and it's not taking anything from Jamaica. It is just clarifying something that has been spoken all the time without anybody giving any care because he was known from Jamaica. But he is a born Kitishan.
Well, that is debatable because just about a week ago, I heard that same conversation. Jamaicans are claiming that he was born in Jamaica. And somewhere along the line, you hear Kitchen now saying that he was born in St. Kitts.
Well,
It's
okay.
sort of like a Byron Messiah
Yeah,
issue.
I understand
So
that.
I don't know when they will get to the root of that. I hope historians and everybody could work in unison and establish one way or the other where Marcus Garvey was actually born I know that he grew up in Jamaica, but I don't know where the book is to make that distinction clear as to where he actually born. This discussion was on Winner Freedom
Mhm.
just about 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I don't know where the evidence can be had, but if anybody knows, I would like them to point me to it where he was actually born.
Okay, here is it. This evidence would have been in the courthouse that burned down. Remember that courthouse that burned down? This evidence could be corroborated there. Now, Mr. Farrier in Sandy Point is one living person who I know has information concerning this. I've been invited to go and see him. I made a couple of trips and didn't. I wasn't lucky. I saw him one night and he told me, yes, come and we'll speak. I'm going to still try to make that appointment come to light. But Mr. Farrier, Mr. Innis is the one whose library would have had vast information on this. I don't know who has access to his papers and what have you, but I do know that Mr. Farrier in Sandy Point does have knowledge, great knowledge of this. Victor Eddy is somebody who could also familiarize you with what I'm saying. But I want to go a little further than that. Papa Newton was born in 1990. And since I was small, he told me that Marcus Garvey was born in St. Kitts. So I had this conversation with people who I went to school with. They called me crazy, stupid, and lie. I remember they used to laugh at me, but I was seriously giving them this information as it was given to me. But that's a small matter. We will get the truth. The truth can never, you see, because no matter who says what, the truth never changes. It remains there to be found. Look how many years they have been telling us something else controversial again, that the Christ, the Jesus Christ, was a white man. Now, a couple months ago in Russia, they opened some archives, some places that haven't been visited since the 1300s. Inside there, they find all black Jesus, all black Mary, all black Moses, all black everybody who they told you about. And the difference is that the names that are given to them in the present day Bible and other scriptures are not the names you're going to find. You're going to find the original name under the picture. You will see the picture and you will see the plagiarizing of the white man's contribution towards this story. No, that was because of slavery. It's difficult for modern day people to not follow, having not studied African history first, then lead themselves on to when we came into slavery. Most people know of black people only after slavery, but we have been here for millions of years before that. We are the ones who were made in the likeness of the Almighty. What has happened to us is that divinity inside our body. Divinity lives inside of us, and we go to the churches and all kind of places to find them, secret societies and stuff like that. So it is mankind who has lost his way. Not necessarily willfully all the time, but it is a fact. It is mankind who has lost touch with himself. Mankind doesn't see himself as the power of the Most High trodden in the flesh. Mankind sees himself as somebody who's trying to go either heaven or hell. Hell, listen, when Constantine took over the ruling of all these nations, Constantine named a place hell. That place is in the northern part of Israel, where he said the tribe of Dan existed. Now, if you read the Bible in Genesis, it may be 29, I'm not sure, but you will see a verse which says, Dan is the serpent that bit the horse's foot and caused the rider to fall. That tribe of Dan lived in hell. The place was called hell. But when religion started spreading, you had a lot of misleaders, and so they started spreading the word that the heavens, which is part of earth, there's a hell which is somewhere down under the ground. And it worked. It got people to fear. They stopped fearing the God that they should fear. The fear of God is not fear like when you fear the man and you run when you see him and you hide. The fear of God is you acknowledging that you are a human being who should live upright according to rightness. The law of God is not written in the Bible, so do not go there to find it. You cannot find the law of God in the Bible. You can find the laws of God in you. What you can find are scriptures which can make you aware of that person inside of you who you're suppressing. The pineal gland is not opening. You're afraid to close your eyes. You're afraid to sleep in the dark. You should sleep in the dark and then see the light. When you see the light, when you're in the dark and you see the light, you understand that before there was the man who to say, let there be light. We lived in darkness. We lived in darkness in the mother's womb. The fear of God is not as if you fear a dog. The fear of God is one living upright. Living upright entails the food you eat. It entails the way you treat people. It includes the fact that you are part of the universe. We get miscarried many times. We think that we are part of a family. We think that we are part of a village. We are part of a community. We are part of an island. We come from an area, the Caribbean. We live in the world and we stop there. No, we are part of the universe. The universe is the vast expanse. Everything that exists, that which you know and that which you do not know, is part of the universe because we were not the first beings. We are human beings, but we were not the first beings. We have to acknowledge that. It is why they would get together and say, let us make man in our own likeness and image because they had made other things before man. Even the animals, did the Bible say that? It is written in the Bible that the animals came before us, and then Adam was given a job to name them. Well, there are many books. For example, the book of Jubilees, which I have owned and can't locate right now. The book of Jubilees tells you a totally different of mankind, including the life of Adam and that Adam had a wife before Eve. And so you see, the knowledge is expanding now, and the Pope is saying that there is no place called hell. So now we have to revisit, we have to re-educate. Rasta is saying that we have been telling you these things all the time were false. Now that you see them, do you see yourself changing? Stopping eating the foods, stop the practices, stop hating people just because you don't like them. What is the reason why you don't like? I just don't like him. He didn't do me anything. I just don't like him. Come on. That is breaking down your chakra. That is breaking down your body. That is giving you disease that you don't know.
When Rastas refer to Selassie as Lord of Lords, King of Kings, and the Lion of Judah, what is meant by Lord of Lords? How many lords are there really?
You see, because this is it. The word Lord is the Israelite, the present day Israelites from Ashkenaz and all kind of place, not the Hebrew Israelites, mind you. These people who call themselves Israelites, they are not the original Israelites. They were the ones who started when they wrote. I have a Jerusalem Bible, which is the Judaism Bible. It has all the same chapters that you would find in the King James Version, but it has added books like Ecclesiasticus, the Book of Wisdom, Ecclesiastes, not Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiasticus. It has the Book of Judith, the Book of a whole heap of books. The book of he has 5 books of Maccabees. It has the Book of Esther. Now each one of these contributes something, but the plagiarizing is what is misleading most people. Now listen, we didn't call His Imperial Majesty King of Kings, Lord of Lords, or conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. The rulers of the world were there. They were the ones who bestowed upon him this title, which was an ancient title which could not be worn or taken by every and anybody. At one point in time, they referred to the Christ as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. But then we must come to the fact and acknowledge that even if Christ were the Son of God or a God, go back to your ancestry and find out there were 12 gods who came from the star Sirius and made us. That is why it is said, let us make man in our own likeness and our own image. You can be us and one. Okay? So we didn't give the titles to His Majesty. There were titles bestowed upon him, and the Queen was present at this. It was 72 nations, 76 nations, some
I
all
think
represented.
he also begged of Rastafari movement not to refer to him as a deity.
Okay, I agree. But you see, if Jesus come and he tell them that he's the Son of God and they crucify him, would you go and tell somebody that you're a deity? It is wisdom. It is wisdom. And what people are misleading themselves with is that we are not saying that His Majesty is Elohim. We are saying that he is the one who was designated to start the journey back to grand civilization, back to Africa. He was the one who was sent as a light for Africa, and he shone. He put together the OAU and many. He put United Nations in the place. The God figure, the God figure, the symbol of our faith. That is Her Majesty. He's not Elohim. Elohim is a entity that we cannot deal with.
Where's Kush? Kush is in modern Sudan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Ethiopia and Kosha, Ethiopia and
And Sudan.
Sudan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of mix up depending on who write what.
You see, because then you see you have to go and get translations. English, modern English translations are very misleading. You have to get translations from the original books, Kebonegas and stuff like that. Those books,
So sometimes you could really infer that some of those books were ill translated.
they were ill translated and misleading information is being given to the people in order to control. This is all about control. It is all about controlling the world. They decide that God make the world and they gonna control it. There are many right now. I am a person who I make my posts on Facebook or WhatsApp, what have you, and I have been getting posts from many people who I don't know. People who I don't know are giving me information to debunk this knowledge, this false information that is given. And then what is going to happen in 2025? The Roman Catholic Church has already released the Bible, which some people have had. If there was something on WhatsApp last week, saying that somebody went to a funeral and they took out a King James Version Bible and they read from the King James Bible. And the preacher of the Anglican Church in Nevis, a schoolmate of mine, I have it on my phone where he bashed the woman and tell the woman he got a new Bible now. Nobody read that because I understand what he was saying, and he was speaking the truth. But when you have already indoctrinated people into going down the road and you want them turned back, you call them like it's dog Debbie? No. This is what I'm saying. This is part of you letting the divinity in you shine. We are not in touch with our spirits. We are mind, body, and soul, Mr. Nital. We had that discussion before. We are mind, body, and soul. We go to school and educate ourselves, whatever college and stuff, come back, PhD, MHD, and we know nothing. But we go to church to try raise up the soul, and that is not right. That can't happen because religion was made to control us, to make us turn away from our gods. up to today, the Africans, the ancient Africans who were nothing about what they call civilization, the people them who still drinking water out of the river and stuff like that, in the parts that they don't want to show you. The Africa is built up better than Europe. The Moors taught the Europeans how to build Africa. We taught them 33 degrees of wisdom, and they went back and formed secret societies, following the Knight Templars and all people like that, who were known to be people who had adverse knowledge, spreading adverse knowledge because they wanted to establish Satan in many forms.
So where the 12 gods that you spoke about, where they originated?
They came from the Sirius, the stars are in the heavens, and in the heavens, beyond the heavens are the stars. Okay? The firmament is what controls the world. Okay, keeps the world together, give us gravity and all this electricity and so out there. So, but we cannot harness them for lack of knowledge. When I was small, the obelisk inside the memorial in 1970, 69, 70, 70, there was a heavy hurricane wind and it started blowing off some pieces off of the obelisk. And I personally went to see what they were. And these were like tablets with something electronic inside of them. The thing looked like what you would see if you open the back of a radio, the solders and stuff like that, right? And a set of white men came off a man of war and took them away from us and went with them. And right now they're not back on the obelisk. If you see a long-term picture, you will know what I'm talking about. You would have seen that he had pieces like this going up, right up to the top. That was used to transmit electricity. We do not understand that we are electrical people. We are electrical people. If you hold a tester in your hand, a ohms meter, you're going to register voltage. So electricity is part of our ancestry, so to speak, our inheritance in the electrical force. We have copper. We have to put copper in our body. Copper and carbon form electricity, Mr. Nital, you're scientist. Copper and carbon form electricity. Give you electrical currents.
My understanding is that there is only one God, and he is referred to as that supreme being of which nothing greater can be perceived.
Okay.
So my understanding is that there cannot be more than one.
There must
Because if this one is the supreme being of which nothing greater can be perceived, it is telling me there is only one.
listen.
So the 12 that we spoke about, though, that is where debates and so would come up.
I understand you, and I agree with you. But there's a book that I have called Blackroot Science, and this will give you a clearer knowledge and explanation as to what I'm saying. There were 12 gods. They split in 24. Each god split in two because gods are like that. Okay? There is a place from whence they came. Okay. This one God made the heaven and the earth, where he was standing up when he made them. Because remember, if heaven,
That like which come first, the chicken or the egg.
so this is what I'm saying. If he made the heavens and the earth, he could not have been standing in heaven making heaven. Though I know he's great and all of these things all that we should acknowledge. Omnipotent,
Mm-hmm.
omniscient.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the leader of the 12 tribe, the tribe of 12. He was the leader of the tribe of 12. We had 13 was a special number. That which is called 13 now was a special number. At that time, the 12 procreated into 144 and then 144,000 and populated the earth. That is why it is written in some people's book that is only 144,000 people going to see God. That ain't true. That is not what the ancestry told us. The ancestry told us that 144,000 people were placed here, and all of us come after, go and leave them. We are going to go leave them. You're going to know if you're one, because we have procreation and we have reincarnation. Many people don't believe in reincarnation. They believe in evolution. That's why a man come on the radio and say that we are 98% monkey. We are not 98% monkey. When you're going to tell me that the man who made all, he make a perfect lion. He make a perfect monkey. He make a perfect baboon. He make perfect chicken. He make frog and ants perfect. And he make human being imperfect. He did not. And it's the white man teaching you that you're not perfect because he tell me that I come from a lesser God. I am the child of a lesser God. So he right there and then he's admitting that there's more than one God.
Darwin, the master of evolution.
Yeah.
I think what Darwin was trying to explain was that we were created, but then we had to evolve.
As humans.
Yeah, as humans.
We were created as humans and we evolved as humans.
And
we
we
were
keep
never
on,
monkey.
keep on evolving.
But what could have happened, I will give him this much. What could have happened is during the time that the fathers were putting us together, when he reached putting the monkey or the baboon, he realized that the making of the animals needed something that is going to be a step over the animals, and he made. If you put it like that, I will take it. And no, I don't make no talk about it. I wouldn't 100% take it. But take like, but you cannot tell me that God make a monkey and then put in 2% and make it to a man. That can be. Every one of us is perfect, and if you don't believe you're perfect, that is your fault. Because if a man is an invalid, he's a perfect invalid. If a man is a thief, he's a perfect thief.
Perfect imperfection.
Perfect imperfections. So we are perfect. And until we start to acknowledge things like this, we're going to still want to hurt each other, rob each other, and don't like each other for simplicity.
So I don't believe at any point in time when man was originally put together, they had a stooped posture, bend over.
Well,
But as the plants grew taller and taller, the fruits reached out of
that
accessibility by the human. So they had to evolve.
so
So they
that is
started to come more upright.
that is a good way of putting it, Mr. Nital. Let's look at a baby. First he crawling on the belly, then he learn to walk on all four, and then he learn to balance and stand up, and he go tall standing.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the evolution to me. That part there is the evolution what you talking about, not the part about the monkey. I ain't taking the one there. You're taking away from God if you're telling me that he couldn't make people, he had to make monkey first and then put in 2%. Come on. Them is stories that you want to lead people from the light. You should lead people to the light, not from the light. Because the people were afraid of the darkness. At nights, remember there was no moon because there was no light. There was no sun, there was no light. But we could see. We could still see. And then when the man said, let there be light, there came light. And with the coming of light came illumination. And this is where Satan, who had already been cast out of the holy temple or the holy place, started to be able to reach to people because he was telling them, listen, don't go live in the darkness, see light over here now. Me bring it. He didn't bring it, but you ain't know that because you just don't know.
Was darkness really a physical condition, or was it a mindset for you to better understand when it is said from a psychological perspective that we need to see the light, we need to better understand things that we can put together for the benefit of mankind. I don't really see it as illuminosity, like over here less light and over there more light, and comparatively one dark compared to the other. I see it as a concept. Just like how we always say that a man is a mind with a body, and not a body with a mind. Because if you realize what happened, somebody will say, "By Nital and Professor was on, and they had a good discussion." They're thinking about us above our shoulders. Okay? If something happened to one of us and life would have gone out of our bodies, they always say the body was recuperated from XYZ. You see? So they go from above the shoulder to below. So that is telling us that a man is a mind with a body
I agree.
and not a body with a mind.
A man is a mind with a body, and that is why reincarnation takes place, because matter is not destroyed, and so the mind is not destroyed. This is where I got to the church thing. When we go to church, we cannot uplift our spirit. You have to uplift your spirit from within. You have to come out in the morning and say, listen, neighbor, we always got confusion. You go that's coming in my yard, I'm going to fence out the place with wall. I'm going to put wire on the top. If I find a goat in here, I'm going to tell you till you come. But you have to do something about it, because it is unfair for me to be suffering because of you and your goat. We're not supposed to be arguing over simple things like that. That's where animosity and hatred comes in, because you find a reason to don't like me and I don't like you, and then your house on fire and I call in the next door neighbor instead of I throw some sand or water over there. We have lost that love. That love that I grew up, Mr. Nital, that love that you grew up knowing doesn't exist anymore. And it is not making its way back easily, because the people have changed. Listen, the times have changed. We are now in the age of Aquarius. We are in the age of Aquarius. So when you go on Facebook and other medias right now, you're going to see a lot of things about Aquarius. And they ain't going to come and tell you that the age of Aquarius is important, because it is ushering in certain things. Certain practices of the people are upon us now, because the age of Pisces allow them to come, so that when the age of Aquarius comes, it will be faced with these problems. Problems I don't want to talk about because some people gonna get offended. But the ways of our life, we have gone far from what is normal, accepted what America and other people say, which is part of their culture, not part of our culture. It is not indigenous to our people.
Yeah, but
But
if we
we
have
take on the
but
armor.
if we have migration and we open up to people coming here, we traveling places, we have to evolve
Okay.
because you have like a melting pot. You have different races, different people, different ideologies, all mixing. So somewhere we are going to deviate from the norm that we knew originally. The deviation. We are hoping that we will not deviate so much that our culture becomes so diluted that it bears the label as being insignificant. Because we can see what happening around here. It's Chinese this, Spanish this, and soon you might have a good infiltration of these people into our culture. And when you have that, they bring in their own culture, and ours here stagnant, stationary, right? What would happen?
Well, it has been happening already in
Right.
places like Africa and in the Caribbean too. What we have here is this. We do not belong in the Caribbean. We do not belong out here. We belong in Africa. And that is why I don't have any problems with local people coming or with our people going forward. Because this is what they have chosen. These people have chosen. People, look here, they got walking dead, you know. They have walking dead, people who are already dead, and they're walking still. They got demons walking amongst you. They got people who make themselves demons to demonize the culture. There are people who should be paying more attention. Take for this, I don't, certain topics very ticklish with me because somebody asked on Facebook, one person who you can put on speakerphone, and about 100, in about 10 minutes, about 150 people say, Professor, can you know what he can say? But no, that is not it. You don't want you have been sugarcoating things so long and allowing them to pass. Yesterday I had a conversation with a man. While we're talking about crime and stuff, and he's saying that he believes that they should do this to criminal and that to criminal. And I say, well, hold on, you can't just generalize the thing. So you have to look at where you are and understand how you're going to implement or reintroduce certain things. He said they should kill all of this. I said, boy, don't stop talking about kill. Because it's killing you're saying that you don't like. I know you're saying kill the killer. No, 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 no. May agree with that. We got to come to better understanding than that. Same time somebody said, me, Vibes Cartel come out of jail. He said, yeah, man. I said, you see, that's the double standard. Vibes Cartel was imprisoned because they say he killed somebody. Okay? And now you just say that you don't want any killing. But you're glad the Lego Vibes Cartel. That's the double standard. You should not say anything because we wait in the middle of the conversation. You can't contradict yourself. But this is what's been happening. The women, when you go and you make a complaint on them, oh, my child, no, do not. So, okay. You go to the father, man, he mother got him so. You still didn't get any kind of satisfaction. The problem escalate. The de-escalation is what was necessary at that time. She come and she tell you, oh, if you child stay which part he live, not, my son would not seem to trouble him. So because he didn't stay where he live, your son was where he live. So we keep moving the goalposts. And that is one of the things that is causing a lot.
I think that we are trying to help when we have not fully understood mankind. And it's very easy to suggest solutions when we don't know much about the problem.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have ever heard about the Jahawi window. The Jahawi window, two persons concept joined together, so they call it Jahawi window. One was Joseph somebody, and one was Harry somebody, so they call it Jahawi. Now, they say a person is comprised of four selves. The known self, meaning that you know about me, I know about you. What people know about you and what you know about yourself. They have the hidden self, what you would not allow people to know about you. That's the hidden self. Then you have the blind self, what people know about you that you don't know about yourself. And the crucial and most vital one is the unknown self. Neither you know about you, nor your friends know about you, no. These are things about you that you don't know, your family don't know, your friends don't know, your neighbor don't know. The only person who would have information with respect to that unknown self is the Almighty. So how could you help when you don't know to what extent? And they're made up of different. Your hidden self might be half of you. I mean, you're a very secretive person. The known self, if everything about you is known, you're very popular. There's nothing to hide. But the unknown self, that is where the problem is. If you don't quite know him, how could we help him?
And you see, this is the thing.
And it's not like a chemistry lab where you could take acid and base and mix them together and get salt and water. You cannot experiment like that in social science. You could do that in physical science. So the problem is we have to live a life to understand how to deal with people. And like the mighty sparrow said, you gotta learn from the mistake that other people make. But we feel like we have to experience everything. You don't have to experience it yourself. You experience it just like how you learn a job by osmosis. You can also learn about mistakes that you ought not to make.
And this is where the scriptures and stuff come in because they will tell you, they will point you towards uprightness. But when you read in the same book, in the book of Romans chapter 13, verse 9, something like that, I can't remember all those things again, all. It tells you that God hated Esau. He loved Israel, but he hated Esau. And then another part of the Bible tell you, God don't hate anybody, God love everybody. Then one part of the Bible tell you that Jesus come to die for our sin. And the other part of the same Bible tell you that in Matthew tell you that Jesus said he ain't come for no peace. He come for war. He come to set mothers against daughters, fathers against son, mother-in-law against son-in-law. You know, so this is if you follow my drift, we can go to one book, we can go to no one place and find the thing. We have to look within ourselves first. You can't love yourself, you can't love nobody. I have experienced that. I experienced working for me hard or money, counting it and feeling good. And I just buy a little thing for me and a little drink for me, and then as soon as I reach on the road, somebody problem, somebody problem, somebody problem. And then when everybody problem solved, the guy in the hairstyle and the guy in the high heels going up the road. And I still underneath a car trying to make $50 to go buy food to go eat. Then I realize it's about self. Self preservation comes first. If you do not preserve yourself, you cannot be anything to or for anybody. So there's a lot of wrong teachings that they gave to us. They tell us we must give to others first and then feed the children and let me eat the crumbs from the table. That's why Bonanzi had to outsmart them. Because Bonanzi give everybody a whole one and then start to ball and say he hungry and they give him back half. So he get half everybody thing. You see what I'm talking about?
Of
But
course.
those are stories to make us wise. And you were correct. If you see a man who went through a tribulation because of certain things, you come behind and believe that it's different because of you. Up to yesterday, I was talking to my brethren them, and I was telling them, listen, Adam said Eve doing something wrong. Samson said Delilah doing something wrong. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, and he said, beware of women. Who am I? If I am not being aware of women and in the correct manner, I will lose myself. And then there comes, Mr. Nital, the need for what you are saying, what we discussed just before we came on here. You need to be able to calm the storm that rages inside of you. That is why when you do me something and I feel like bust your head, I realize busting your head ain't the solution. Hitting you is not the solution. If you were the one who drink the rum, I gonna tell you you're drunk, you ain't know what you do. Me ain't gonna tell you nothing, Mr. Nital. I don't have to tell you you walk on my foot, you feel it.
That is the person in diabetic. Diabetics tend to lose feeling
Okay. So
in
so
their
so
feet
and then
sometimes.
we tend to know about them and you hit on a point there. Diabetic yesterday I find a bush, African bush in St. Kitts. A bush called bitter leaf. You just hear them African movies. All the time you hear the some of the ladies and especially the herbalists talking about bitter leaf. Bitter leaf is a leaf, right? That if you use it correctly, it can down your diabetes right down so low that they tell you eat a sweetie or keep some sweets around.
Unless you're in a diabetic coma. You see, the problem is dosage. And I know we come into that section
Yeah,
there.
but
The problem is dosage. Yes, a lot of things good for us, but a lot of things bad for us as well, if taken out of proportion. Because you can get intoxicated by drinking water. If you drink too much water, it could be bad for you. If you go and you Google how many persons met their death due to consuming too much water, you'll be surprised to see the volume.
you see,
But how do you know? How do you know the dosage? When you have the pharmacological issues and they carry out the experiment and they say we're putting in this percentage by weight, that percentage by weight, and we'll call it a zero point 0.5 milligram or 50 milligrams or 150 milligram, 500 milligram. How do you This is the challenge. Eh? How do you establish how much of this bush must I give somebody to assist them in getting over the hurdle of a sickness or ailment?
Okay. If we're gonna take, for example, a cup, one teacup, we have to decide how many ounces in that cup. Or the cup could take it because you have 7 ounces, you have 9 ounces, you have 10 ounces, 13 ounces, various ounces. Okay, so what size tea you're gonna make? Generally speaking, if we go back to the time before we had fire, when we didn't have any fire, we still used to eat. When we didn't have any pharmacies, we still used to use the herbs. So see what it is. We use odd number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. We use as a maximum. If you're gonna use 13 leaves, it is because you're going to sleep or you're going to relax, and you're going to also do a degree of fasting. So I'm saying again, for a baby, you give him one leaf. For anybody over that, they come up to 3, 5, 7. You give them 3 leaves. But you must also be careful to administer this at the right time, because one of the things that the people don't take into consideration is the contribution that the moon makes to your body. But when I was ill, I understood it very well. Every time the new moon coming around, you get a feeling. You get a feeling of strength. You get a feeling of vitality. You're ready to go. And when the full moon come on, pain, weakness, all kind of odd feelings. Then you got to know you got to drink water. This is the problem. You cannot drink too much water. You drink too much water, you depleting all the other things inside of your body. Plus, it's gonna make you urinate a lot, and you're going to get dehydrated by over urinating. So when it comes to this is what happened. You don't eat salt. I haven't eaten salted things like this. I haven't used iodized salt. I haven't used iodized salt for almost 50 years. I always use sea salt. Okay, I go over to Fires Bay or wherever, what do you call it? When we had the ponds, but we only have the one over at Majors Bay now,
Yeah.
and they seem to be poisoning that slowly. But I go over there whenever there's salt over there. I get buckets of salt and I put them inside of where I live because I know the use of salt. Now what I do, I walk with a little plastic package with salt inside of it, the sea salt inside of it. And if I'm doing work and I stretch and I get a cramp, I know that is lack of salt. Sea salt doesn't only have in sodium chloride.
Yeah, magnesium
It
as
has
well.
in magnesium as well.
Hmm.
And one of the first, maybe the first chemical you need when you get up in the morning is magnesium to start the reactions. Even the saliva, saliva needs magnesium in order to start mastication. So you see my point. You put back in the salt. You got amino acids. You got nitric acid, nitric oxide. All these things are important to the body. So we now come to the point where we're going to make our food, our medicine, because we want to eat and feel good. And if we could don't get sick because of that, that is the way to go. This is one of the things that Rasta has propagated for many years. And Mr. Nital,
Right. So
you know us.
experience. You see, you have to look towards somebody with great experience in order for you to trust them, because sometimes it's by osmosis too. And you look on and you learn, because you can't put them in a lab and experiment. And even though I heard you just know with one leaf, depending on whether the child is under 3 years and you came up gradually, that leaf would still be a certain concentration. Because you got dry leaves,
Yeah.
and you got half dried leaves, you got green leaves.
Hmm.
So if you're using the green leaf, you got chlorophyll,
Hmm.
which at the center of the chlorophyll is magnesium as well. That's why some people say when the leaf is green, just dry it Well, people say dry,
Mm.
don't boil it.
Can't put the
Because you're
sugar.
taking out substance
The
that you
sugar.
don't need to take out for that particular occasion. But the dry leaf now, when the chlorophyll would have basically disappeared, now you have to boil that a little longer under a better heat to extract whatever significant substance you want to extract from the dry leaf.
See the green leaf with the chlorophyll. We would know that chlorophyll stays alive on its own if extracted correctly. It stays alive for 8 hours. After 8 hours, it's just a drink. So when you see people selling chlorophyll drink, if they're not making it in the morning and coming to the bank and sell you, they can bring one from Friday, shake up the bottle and give you, and it does anything for you. You're not going to benefit and you're going to soon stop. You need to use the chlorophyll within 8 hours of moving it. No, the leaf survive us for about 3 days, still with some greenness, some of that chlorophyll that is ready. But after you get the dried leaf, it releases more and easily. It releases the chemicals in the water. The difference is that they are now organic chemicals which are extracted. But when you're going to use the green leaf, you boil the water, drop the green leaf in it, put a cover on it, turn down the fire, and let it steep for 5 minutes. There are certain leaves that you Medina, you gotta boil for Medina for 45 minutes, otherwise you waste your time.
Better green or dry.
Whether green or dry. Medina is a thing that as it comes out of the leaves, all the molecules come together and then they become a different kind of thing. We're going on from the bush now. You take out the bush, it's all white. And you're still boiling a Medina with a little piece of ginger and stuff. Then it comes down. You're gonna some gonna evaporate, some the water gonna evaporate, and you get a good Medina drink. You could soak Medina for 21 days and get a nice drink for people who like to say they suffer from erectile dysfunction. I am going to discourage erectile dysfunction tonight by telling you that there are so many things around you on a daily basis that you can use instead of going and using things that you do use, and they will prevent that from ever happening to you. I'm 63 years old, and I'm telling you, you could wake up like a top every morning as a man, but first, you have to tell your body this is what you're doing. Your body understands you, but because you lack the spiritual intuition, you get misled. You hear people say it all the time, "Boy, my mind, they tell me don't do that, and I do it still." Yeah, when your mind talking to you, that's the spirit reaching out to you, your mind, body, and soul. That is the spirit reaching out to you, the spirit that you wouldn't reach to. Please go and reach it. Go and reach it. Look here, I like all kind of music, and I know a lot of things about music. I was a musician in the Defense Force band for many, 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 many years. I taught people to play a lot of instruments. But that is like me blowing my trumpet telling you that. Okay? Um, in music, there are certain keys. The reason why Rihanna will put out a song today and by end of the week it top the chart is because the key that the music is played in appeals to your chakra. It's frequency. Mr. Nital, you know that. We operate on frequencies. The higher the frequency, the more efficient we are. But how we get high frequency? We got to start to fast. I ain't talking about 40 days and 40 nights. Those are stories. I am talking about giving the body the opportunity to not find anything foreign inside of it and therefore repair itself. It will. Since the last show that I was here with you, I have cured a lot of people. I'm going to say cure because what they came to me with, I totally removed it from them. And not one of them would come and say, Mr. Nital, my professor, they give me some bush. Because what I do now, I don't just tell you about the bush anymore. I go and I extract it for you so that you have a measure because measure is a lot of people problem. Before we had pounds and ounces, people your grandmother used to throw that amount of seasoning in the pot and that's enough. And if you train yourself that way, you will hear the voice say that's enough. I do that all the time. I go and cook tonight. I can't eat until morning, but I go and cook tonight. Normally, I would cook I eat every 14 hours. If I'm going to eat as a little snack in between, it must be something like, for example, if I feel like buy me sugar might be low because I ain't eat nothing sweet for about a week, I eat something sweet. I raise whole also. But then I got to pull out a lot of things because all of the gluten is not going inside of me. I don't eat it the inside of the bread. I am not telling you to do that, but I just don't. Because I see people who live on bread, how they end up. They end up with constipation. They end up with pile. They end up with hemorrhoids. They end up with colon cancer. A lot of people in St. Kitts are suffering because I said this time and repeat it. We like to eat, but we don't like go toilet. And when we go toilet, we don't understand that if we eat a half pound of rice, that is what's supposed to come out there. Not a tablespoonful or two tablespoonful and you rush come back in a cold office, go sit down on a cold chair. You know a lot of people who work in offices that I have helped, when I draw these points to them and they take action, they meet me and tell me, boy, Professor, thanks a lot because it sounds simple to me and my mother laugh and all. But while they lay down in the bed, I say, boy, he could got a point there. When I asked a woman, how much holes in your body? She said, me, 9 holes in your body that you had to remember. 9 is a very important number to us. You see six sixes? That is 9. So when people running up and down, six is the mark of the beast, why I got 6 atoms, 6 neutrons, 6 protons.
That's carbon.
Yeah. We made up of
Carbon
carbon
is the
and
element of life.
yes.
6 electrons, 6 protons, and
And
six
that is
neutrons.
9. 6 and 6 is 12 and 6 is 18. 8 and 1 is 9. 9 is an important number to us. But we follow 7 because 7 looks sexy. No, come and go and learn from your ancestry. If you go and learn from your ancestry, they ain't gonna 10. 9 is the last number. They put 10 because they had to plagiarize everything. And so they spoil the world. And then they start to teach us that everything that they say is true and right. And most of the things they don't practice themselves.
They had two guys went to steal a time from an elderly woman, right? And the lady there with her granddaughter, and she asking the granddaughter to dial 911. One of the perpetrators tell the other perpetrator, don't take her shit, man. They ain't got no 11 on top of the phone. She just said, you say there's no 10?
Yeah.
So there's no 11 on the phone. The granddaughter died, the police come meet them there. Because our thinking has a lot to do with it.
Yes, the concept.
You don't 911 didn't say 911.
911.
So he telling his partner that there's no 11 on the phone, so they just continue packing up whatever. We have to process things. I think sometimes our thinking is a bit too superficial and we need to get deeper. We need to sit with persons of experience. The way our world going on right now, so many confusion. The youngsters them keeping company with each other. They can learn from each other. Sit down with somebody of experience and have a conversation. And you see how you can tailor it to your betterment. Nobody say photocopy whatever somebody else did. But it must be an integrated approach.
Yes.
Peter did that, Susan did that, and I am me. So I will want to use the benefits or the positive aspects from those 3 persons and have it integrated into a product that can benefit me even more than how each one of them benefited from the individualistic approach. And maybe life is about integration. Life is about integration.
Integration, understanding, heartical love. Love from your heart, what you call diligence. The Mr. Nital, there's a book called Black's Law Dictionary. You spoke earlier and said that we have four persons within our person.
Yes, four selves. Yes.
Four cells in our person. I will put it your way. Um, do you know that if you look up the word person in the Black's Law Dictionary, then you will understand that sometimes when you go to the court, you ask the case before it starts. Because in the Black's Law Dictionary, which is used by the lawyers, they refer to you as a person with the word. But when you reach in front of the magistrate and the magistrate hears him say person, he starts seeing you as a different entity. He sees you as an entity. You, a person in Black's Law Dictionary doesn't mean an individual.
Mm-hmm.
It means an entity. It means when you say, oh, Nital the person. You mean Nital the man with a black jeep with four houses over there, three children down there, a woman he don't talk to no more. That is all of that they incorporate in that one word person. And you gone in there think it's you inside there. So when you look now, you hear the lawyer say, well, isn't it a fact that on occasion you would have done this or done that with this person? Or with your brother or your sister. Well, my brother and sister ain't got nothing to do with this. It's me. No, 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 no. Answer the question, the magistrate tell you. Answer the question, please. He understands that he ain't dealing with you. He trying to find a loophole, some way to dig you so you come out of the court a loser. You think liars don't sit down round table and talk? They do. We live in a corrupt world. It's like you have 10 stupid people and you pick one of them and think he gonna be sensible. He gonna do stupidness. There's a story, an African proverb again, an African story that the grandmother used to talk. She would say, the donkey went to the elephant and tell him the grass is blue. The elephant started to argue, boy, the grass ain't blue, the donkey, the grass is blue. The two of them went in front of the lion. The donkey tell the lion, the grass is blue. The lion say, yes, the grass is blue. The donkey say, hee, ha, 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 the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue. He wasn't gone on the road singing the grass is blue, right? The lion, the lion and the elephant there, the elephant say, but king of the jungle, why did you tell him that the grass is blue when you know the grass is green? He said, if you argue with a jackass, who is the jackass? A fool gonna be a fool from morning till night. He named cheater when he born, he ain't dead. He's still the dead cheater that day. For everything, for all of us. We don't understand that. People don't change, things don't change. We evolve into who we are. If you do something, if you're walking in a place all the time, and one day you thief something, put it in your pocket, you just find out for yourself that you're a bum cloth thief. You just found out for yourself that you're a thief. Sorry about that. You're a thief. If you go to church and you solely believe in Jesus, you're finding out that you're easily misled, or you accept the fact that you want to be misled. Go and find your peace. The I am gave everybody enough understanding to find his own happiness. That is why when people leave your company, you allow them to go and you wish them all the best. Might be disappointed according to the circumstances or situation, but you have to come to terms with reality because the I am gave every single human being enough understanding to find his own happiness. Now, if you ain't happy afterwards, don't blame me, and that ain't got nothing to do with anybody else but you because you have just experienced and learned. So now you could tell your children or your grandchildren, or you going to talk to people who suppose they ain't got no grandchildren close to me. My grandchildren them abroad with whoever, wherever. And I try to talk to the young people around me and say, come, let me teach you something. And I want to teach you some principles that could govern you too. Why? You don't live your life. You're old man now, you don't live your life. You leave young people to themselves. Look, I leave young people to themselves. I divorce myself from everything. I don't go to no party. I don't go to no fete. I don't go park up play football. I don't know who in the cup. And look, I living still happily and eating and drinking and going on with important things. I have people to look out for. I do my best. I have people that I take work from them. I do my best. I have people who I can't afford to charge them any money for the hopes that I give to them because the condition that I meet them in, he don't tell me like why the father send you here to open a little light for because so and so.
But sometimes, even for inner peace, you have to understand people as well. Huh?
Yeah.
All the time we teach people, we have to learn people as well. We have to understand
Yep.
fully. And from the time you learn your coping skills and your escape valves, you know to put a lot of stuff behind you. Don't even touch them. Don't open a can of worm. You're coming up. You see three blind persons on the corner there and begging for 50 cents or whatever. And you pass up and you say, here, share up the $100 between all you. And you ain't give them a cent. That's war between the two of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
I was waiting for you to
Because they
finish
have
it.
no way to ascertain which one got the money, or if any money at all was
Was
given.
passed. Yeah.
But if you understand them, you can set them against each other and get your inner peace. You pass, each of them grabbing your shot. You say, look, share up the $100 between all you.
And they have animosity there when you're gone
And,
because
and nothing at all was
and nothing was
given.
given but then they might two of them might beat another one and the other one might beat the other one and you see what I'm talking about. But that is the way we have become too. We have become a kind of subservient, if I should use that word. And at the same time we have become complacent and accepted a lot of things as oh well, it's long like time that happening so we not hurt
Lazy
me head with it.
minded. Lazy
Yeah, we get
minded.
lazy and we say, well, wow.
I made a presentation the other day with respect to marijuana and tobacco. And a lot of people were shocked about the danger of tobacco. And we emphasize marijuana all the time, right? We have to be so careful, so careful when we attacking one set of people and the others who high up in the office and they're using the tobacco product. We don't see anything wrong with that. Marijuana got in about 500 different chemicals.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you were to combine them in tools, you'd end up with about 125,000 just in tools alone. A and B. I'm not talking about A, B, and C or A, B, C,
Mm-hmm.
and D.
Just
Just two
two
alone, you come up to
ingredients.
about 125,000. 124,750, or round it up to 125. But cigarette smoke, as in 600.
Mm.
And if you do something you call combination on the calculator,
Mm.
six combination to the 174,000 different chemical products are formed when you
When
burn
you burn a cigarette.
the cigarette. But nobody educating our
You
people
see, this is what
along that
this is
line.
what this is what it is.
The white man passed down the thing about marijuana. And the thing is that we have the natural receptors for the chemicals
You
inside of
can tell I know
marijuana,
that.
right? So we must educate people. We must have to educate people. There must be a debate. You don't want a yes man. Because if you had yes man, we would never advance. Technology would never advance.
And many things, many times, the thing that is stopping us is that we do not like opposition. We come out and we say like, well, I was the one who went that. No, 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 no.
That's my brainchild, and
No,
that's
you
it.
can't do that.
Right.
You cannot do that. This is another thing. We, like I said earlier, we take a bunch of 10 stupid people. You know, people calling them stupid all the time. But you give one of them an important duty to do and expect him to do it like a wise man. Because he say he come with a paper say he got a doctorate. He come with a paper say he got a thing. Before he went to study and even come back, you had people doing this thing all the time. He come and you put him in charge of them because he has a doctorate. So then he like a what is a good terminology for that? Anyway, he's a misfit, a square peg in a round hole. Is a
Mm-hmm.
small one for that there. But he came from university with this vast amount of knowledge and information and so to augment what is already there, not to discard it. And that happening in a lot of places in town. I ain't gonna talk about Anguilla and our kind of country where I don't live. It happening in town a lot. You get a new set of people in a certain place, and all of a sudden, with no specific given reason, you see new faces doing old jobs which they cannot do. The line them staying long to move. The people behind the counter sweating in air condition. The people out in the line cussing. Want go use bathroom in the bank where you ain't got no bathroom. Where you gonna go out in the square or you gonna come out in the circus? So we losing focus of the things that are important to us. We are considering riches. I don't go so many funerals now for one reason or the other. But me see nobody buried with nothing yet because the man gone down in the hole don't even know what color clothes he got on. We don't understand death. So the spirit that we thinking about is the one that is understanding death now because he realized that that is the body I used to occupy. But look, here am I and here is the body. Maybe he's trying to see if he could go back in and laughing at himself because the boy well in a different world now. But it is what it is. And we could learn spiritual things. We could learn deep spiritual things without believing in necromancy and occultism and all of that. But those were filtered in to say that that is what Africans do. I don't watch African movies. I don't watch the short clip them with them. You know, little joke in it. For example, they got the one with the dancing going on right now. I don't just get a giggle out of that. But the real African story is not being told in those movies. They tell you that we are a people who like JoJo and we like to thief from one another and we jealous. And everybody in the world like that. Didn't he say we all know that people are the same everywhere we go? There's good and bad in everyone. So one time you're saying that and the next time you're saying what?
You believe that is why we we are not fully embracing Haitians?
We're not fully embracing Haitians, and Haitians are the ones who made us proud when all the black people in the Caribbean were slaves. The Haitian turned back Napoleon, the greatest war man, the greatest warmonger. And not only that, a Kitishon was there with them. That's why Marcus Garvey went Jamaica to uplift Jamaica. Because Jamaica is the word of God, that is the work of God that made that happen. You know. Jamaica was a place that they used to send when they pick up people in the Caribbean who they can't control, they send them over there because the Maroons they don't got mountain here. Antigua was a place that used to send crazy people. Barbados was a place nobody did want to go because they say all the man them is woman. But now we embrace everything. I do not mean accept. I accept that fool's gonna be a fool. I accept that thieves gonna be thieves. I accept that everybody's going to have a part to play. But when it ain't your part, please abdicate. Let the right person, even if you don't like him, and he's the one who could do something to serve the nation, please let him do it. Because when you hear the stories about the people who you run behind and you vote for and you do a lot of things, when you hear the truth about what they had done, it is unbelievable many times. Okay, people like to say the Bible says. It is written in the Bible that in this day the age of Aquarius gonna come when the whole world gonna embrace sodomy.
Sodomy.
Yeah, it is written. I read that since I small. That that Sodom and Gomorrah gonna revisit the earth again, and this time he gonna penetrate the whole earth. I have many Bibles now because my grandmother taught me to read in the Bible. That's why I went to school when I was 3. When I was 3, The woman with the preschool carry me down Irishtown school because some children come up and they wouldn't go back to school. She got to carry them down. She told me, boy, me and carry me down. Well, I did. With the teacher tell us let me stay and I stay in school. So when I left school, I was much younger than the people who were in the class with me because I went junior school when I was 11. Like again, that is blowing my trumpet because you don't know. So I'm not saying that I know more than anybody and I'm better than anybody or different. What life has taught me is what I would like to share with all those who would like to learn. And I shouting out to all my special people out there, who you are, Victor, Colin, Lexi, all of you. I know that you up there laughing with your phone on your laptop, but you got that one thing you could say about me is that is Professor. I don't change. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I tell you already. When you want things sugarcoated, go bakery. There's where they put icing on cake. I don't do that. I want you to, when you leave me, look into yourself. Look into yourself because I am not criticizing you. I am asking you to take another look at yourself. Watch what you eat. You're gonna tell me you want some bush. I know, like I say, I no longer just give you some bush. I go and extract it. I ask you, do you want it in water, or would you like it as a medicine? Now, if you want it in water, it's almost easy. But if you want it as a medicine, I have to go and buy. We do chemistry. I have to go and buy certain things in the drugstore to extract, to help me extract faster and to procure what keep that deal. So that when I take out, I have some,
Augmented.
yeah, I have some man better man right now. I have some St. John's bush. I have some dog blood. You know the bush?
No.
Dog blood is a bush that is very good for women. If they have fallopian tube problem, if they have at if they have what you call
Fallopian
it?
tube meaning what? The polycystic?
Yeah, whatever is
A lot of
wrong with
polyps? Okay.
if you have cysts, if you have endometriosis, if you have fibroids, dog blood is the bush for you. It named so because there's a little red bead on it, like what you call it though, Lord? It just slipped me and I seen it. Not zombie bead. That tree with the point on it, man. It's just slipping me now talking, and that's not that is bad. Conkerberry, conkerberry. You know conkerberry, look. Dog blood got some smaller seeds than the conkerberry, but when you break them in your finger between your fingers and you look at it, it look like blood. Even clot blood sometimes the way that the berry, but it looks exactly like blood. So they call it dog blood. I have Duppy gun. Duppy gun is called Duppy gun because when you pick the bush and you go to wash it to throw it in the pot, when you put it under the pot, you patap, pap, 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 patap, pap, pap, the bush just exploding. And so the Jamaicans call it Duppy gun, and now it's world renowned as Duppy gun.
Do you keep a record, pictorial record with notes as to what this bush is? Or you just keep it in a grammata between your two ears? And how do you recognize a bush when you meet it for the first time?
First, what we're gonna do is, how I did my most of my recent research was if I heard anywhere somebody speaking about a specific herb, then I go and see what family it came from. Then I know some of the things that it can possibly do. Then I go and I find from different people who have studied. I am in touch with people in Brazil and so who will send me a little note and tell me, sometimes you have to get translations and stuff, right? But they will tell me, well, they'll show me the herb and they'll tell me what it's good for and that is proven. Now, why we go and prove it? But the problem is the person who I prove it with just waving to me and telling me, may forget Or sometimes they come and they drop a $50, they give me whatever. Sometimes, most of the times, I don't get anything. But the fact that I could help you, you see, infection, St. Kitts full of infections right now, STDs. The promiscuity that has been accepted as normal has done that to people. And people in the 60s and all complaining. that they're too old to be going through STDs. Look how long they stop menstruate and them kind of thing. But it's, it is the promiscuity. The church is not doing anything about it because it's happening in the churches too. I am saying again, you can't take a thief and make him nothing else but a thief. Because in the beginning was the word, and the word manifests itself in the flesh. If you let thief manifest itself in your flesh, that is who you are. If you make a mistake, and because you don't understand legal terms, they will put a term on the radio station that will make you look like a criminal. But if you go in the Black's Law Dictionary and you read what the word means, you know that they really mean you. That is just what they're putting out because that is easy to carry. Propaganda is easy to carry.
But you have persons who could develop infection without being promiscuous
Yeah, yes.
because the gut, our gut, that's an area of great concern. You have persons who might have passed away when they're like 55 pounds of feces
This is what I'm
out of their
saying.
intestine. Once you have that going on, bacteria and all sort of thing don't build up in there.
This
So you could self-infect because these things supposed to be outside, but they're accumulating on the inside. Sometimes you see a man with a hard belly and you feel a rum belly. Sometimes his feces they got built up in
I know
there
that. I
and
know that.
they're not making any effort to get it out. They don't know any better.
And this is where the doctors, I blame the doctors for not providing the knowledge readily to the people. Let them know that the reason why they come in doctor every 2 weeks is that they are full of stool. I have seen it. I was at the hospital when they performed. I think I was there for about
Autopsy.
six autopsies. That the doctor asked me to come in the room. I didn't want to go. He asked me to come in the room. I went in afraid nothing. I went in and I went to see what it was. And I would see them take like those 5 gallon pail.
Mm-hmm.
Three of them come out of one person. Then you look at the skin. The skin look like when you chop a pig. You know that thick fat on the top and then the lean beneath it.
Yes.
That is how the human body looks when you see them big fat people. I'm telling you because I saw it,
I witnessed a few, maybe a good 8, 9, 10 of them.
right? And it goes back to what I was telling them before. I said, listen, you like to eat, but you don't like go toilet. You have to get that stool out of you. So most of my products, if I'm going to give you or sell you tell you about a product, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you need a bowel cleanser. That is
Detox.
very simple. You need a detox, a colon detox. When you clean your colon, when you get the colon clean and then you soften the stool inside your bowels, it will come out slowly. But when each time you go to the bathroom, you pass so much stool that you know something good is happening to you. When you look, the pimples gone out of your face. You're putting on all kind of cream to get out the pimples, they wouldn't go. Then your face start to clear up. Then you see the slab under your arm gone, the next slab gone. All of this is happening because of the stool inside of your body. Woman got a belly, she look nice, nice, nice. When you see her from behind, when you going for the belly, spoil the whole thing. And you ain't saying it because you're discriminating or you're cussing her. You're telling her that she was eating all the time and not studying anything, taking a lot of tablets. And one day a woman called me and tell me, Professor, I want to see you. So I gone now. And she tell me straight up, me had to see you in front of your face. Thank you for the thing what you tell me about and the thing what you give me because I went toilet and I see some red and black tablets. Professor, it's last year, me take them. I said, you see what I'm telling you about the stool? She said, yes, but I come into that, I come into that. Boy, I tell you, when I wake up a morning time, I did go, me usual go bathroom, and as soon as I sit down to pee pee, everything come down. I ain't got to worry about that again. So she started talking to the younger ones in the family now, and they have been talking to me and doing things. They have been cutting out food. I want to tell you something about food, nutrition. You are what you eat is a statement. Let your food be your medicine is another statement. If your food is not your medicine gonna become your food. So your food, if your medicine is your food, then your food and your medicine is the same thing. You're eating and getting replenishment and healing and prevention. You see, cancer? Cancer is a parasite. I find out that. There is a woman whose name I wouldn't call, because about 6 or 8 years ago she told me she had two women. One live Burdock and one live in Tabernacle. They, they were suffering with stage 4 cancer. And the voice said to me, just keep giving them cleansing herb and you're going to find the right one. I found one named King of the Forest. He named Ringworm Bush. The name is Cassia Lata. That is a super herb. When you take that at the right time, which is, I'm going to tell you now, the right time to pick that tree, or any tree for that matter, is on the new moon, 3 days before the new moon, on the new moon, or 3 days after the new moon. When you pick the trees at the new moon, and when you're planting seeds and planting things during the new moon, you're going to get the support of the moon with the stuff. So it is going to grow with it every moon cycle. Go and look at the tree. Throw some cinnamon powder to the root. Throw some turmeric to the root. Throw some baking soda to the root. Cover it up with the dirt and sprinkle on your water. These are things that will stop you from having to use pesticides and so, because the plant's not going with anything but a little running ants now and again, and they don't last long. But this herb, King of the Forest, Cassia Lata, ringworm bush, is very good for parasites. If you want to clean parasites from your colon, you can use a mixture of papaya seeds, pumpkin seeds, 2 tablespoonful each, grate a coconut, squeeze out the milk, and blend it. Drink that. That is going to clean your colon. I just gave you a recipe or something I could put in a bottle and sell to people. You take a pen and pencil, a paper, write it down. I am here to give you some knowledge which I have been employing for a long time. If you have high blood pressure and you got a breadfruit tree, you ain't got a problem. Go out and pick a breadfruit leaf, make some tea with it, cut up the green leaf and let it steep. And then when you finish, let it sit in the water until the next day. Let it sit overnight. If you're having pains over your body now and again, a pain here, pain there, pain there, get a cactus. Slice up the cactus. Use a tablespoonful of turmeric powder. If you like turmeric powder, I like to get piece of the turmeric. Um, Soak it in coconut water. Soak the cactus turmeric powder in coconut water overnight. Strain it off and drink it. Do that for about 3 or 4 days.
Let
And
me let me interject a bit. Detoxing, colon detox. One would have to be extremely careful with that, because you know the gut got in good bacteria
and bad bacteria.
and bad bacteria.
Mm.
Some persons, when they go to the pharmacies or the doctor, they are now making capsules
Mm.
from feces
Mm.
from the stomach
Mm.
of those with good bacteria, and they try as much as possible to replace the bad bacteria by asking you to take these capsules at appropriate junctures, because your body is filled with the bad bacteria. And you meet somebody now with the good bacteria, they are collecting feces from them and making capsules, processing them, and persons are taking these capsules to improve the gut condition. So over a period of time, the gut will have transformed with having a greater composition of good bacteria. relative to bad bacteria.
Okay. Now you see, that
So
is.
when you detox,
Hmm.
if you have a gut with good bacteria, high percentage,
Hmm.
90 to 10, and you detox, you could almost wash away
Yeah.
all those good bacteria.
Yes. But you see, the fact that you're not using pharmaceutic or chemical products is what eliminates that from being an eminent problem. Because what you're doing is you're going to use papaya seeds. Papaya seeds is good for you without the toxin. Pumpkin seeds are good for you without the toxin. Coconut milk is good for you without the toxin. But when you join them together in a valency, you get an end product over here. This end product, not only is it cleansing, but it is also replenishing. That's why I went to the fact that cancer is a parasite because it's parasitic bushes that are used to remove cancer, herpes, HIV. I have come across people who tell me that is what I have. I did not check them. Lyme's disease, a man in New York, I cure a man in New York from Lyme's disease with King of the Forest alone. In 1979, they came up with Alzheimer's, extreme chronic dementia, and all kind of brain disease. You know why? Because a set of scientists who were looking at the reasons why your body, some people's body seem to have been producing a certain amount of cholesterol more than other people. But the people are not sick. When they go to the doctor, they're not sick. They go for the checkup and he tell them that they have too much cholesterol and cholesterol is bad. No, these are the people who are considered the 2% when you're talking about intelligence. These are the people who brain does work like a clock, better than a clock, like a computer, better than that. Because the cholesterol is food for your brain. They start depleting cholesterol so that insurance will come in. Everybody, all these entities, these false entities run by rich millionaires, by the Rothschilds and all those people, George Soros and them kind of people here. You know, they come up, Bill Gates. Look, Bill Gates. Bill Gates never studied nothing. And he got WHO telling people that it's soon time for another pandemic. You see what is the fallout from the last pandemic? Are we turning a blind eye to it? And we hush hush. And the doctors getting promoted to go and work different places because they have already done the job that they came to do. Bill Gates come and say that he is going to use vaccines and birth control
To reduce the world
to reduce
population.
the world population. And you're putting up your hand for he. And you're telling me, boy, you love God because you're a Christian?
The cholesterol part, the fat part, what really happening is that the neurons, the nerves,
Mhm.
they have a sheet of fat
Mhm.
to facilitate the nerves transmission. They call it the myelinated
Yeah.
neurons.
Mhm.
Without that, there would be difficulty transmitting the messages from one place to the other. You know, you have the motor neurons and the
Mhm.
sensory
And the
neurons.
sensory neuron.
If the sensory neurons especially are not transmitting the information to the brain, for the brain to decide, make up its mind, so to speak, as to what action should be taken, then, like you said, person will just deteriorate because there is nothing to carry back that message,
Mhm.
nothing to take it to the brain properly, and to bring it back. You still have a difficulty. You got hurdles all over. And that is why you're relating to the fact that the cholesterol, they deplete it so that somebody can make money.
Yeah.
But your body would need some degree of fat. So the neurons that transmit the nerve impulses could have the conducive environment to transmit them and transmit them in a fluent manner.
And this goes back to our education towards eating. Because you see, excess protein is stored in the body as fat. It's transformed by the lymphatic glands and other fat recognizing glands in the body. So then, when you have excess protein, you have fat that your body doesn't want, but it's running around inside there. That is why you have to be careful how you eat. We tend to eat a mixed diet. A mixed diet is not always the way to go. You put in your digestive system to digest meat, that's going to take a certain amount of time. Digest vegetable, that's going to take a certain amount of time. Digest the too much starch in the rice. I don't eat like that. When I going to eat, over the years, I've reached to this. When I'm going to eat, I could do all provisions. I peel the provisions, I soak them in water, I wash them in baking soda, and then I cook them in a little bit of water and a low fire. I don't let them get soft because that is already destruction. You're going to get gluten, ready gluten. Not because it's provision. They're too soft, you can benefit from them. So all them ingredients that you think you're getting, you're not getting. The other thing, if you're gonna cook soup, try drink the soup by itself and don't put in no meat. Listen, we didn't come from eating meat. We were taught how to prepare meat for the white man to eat, and they give us the belly to eat. That's why people are still like black pudding. You eat in the intestines where all the stool was. That is why you're eating. Don't care how good you wash it. That is where all the stool was. See what I teach you to eat? Look at your teeth. Your teeth ain't make to pull no meat. You're supposed to be able to eat mango, pear, guava, the fruits and vegetables that were there before we had fire. The coming of fire brought the destruction of mankind bodily because you started destroying things while you were eating raw by putting heat to them. When you put heat to things, you destroy or you make a rapid reaction, a catalytic reaction. The heat almost serves as a catalyst to force a reaction and augment this reaction according to how long you apply the heat.
Called thermostatic,
You're the one to give
thermocatalytic reaction.
the learned people those things. I learned them there way back when and learn to simplify my speech so that the simple man go understand what I say.
Before we had pressure cookers, I grew up with my parents, and my mother used to use Popeye, Papa, to put in the doving pot with meat. And when she was finished, the meat used to be nice and tender. But I ain't had a clue why it would be like that. Only for me to get older and get into chemistry, I get to understand that there was a natural tenderizer inside of the Popeye. So with our pressure cooker, we used to get our tenderized.
We used to cook with tongues. We used to do the things. Just this is what I'm getting back to. Before the influence of the white man and his universities really encompassed the whole world, we were living much better. We were healthier, and we knew things like that. Now, how many people in Radio Land know what Mr. Nital just talked about using papa to tenderize the meat? Okay, let me show you something. My mother and Nurse Hendrickson in Greenland, God rest the soul, both of them are deceased.
Nurse Hendrickson
was that big woman, Mr. Kane's sister.
To help them deliver babies.
Good. My mother and Nurse Hendrickson used to bake cakes for people all around the country, people in Canada, people going back America, right? See how they used to get fruits? They used to take sweet potato, chip them up small, Take papa, chip it up small. Take a Tanya, put it over by this cake. Put a dash in over by the cake. Chip it them up small. Put them in the sun to dry with sugar on them or molasses. When they take it out of the sifter and put it in the cake, you don't know what you're eating. You just know that you don't taste no other cake nowhere else in the island like these two ladies. And the two of them used to pass. Sometimes mommy cooking, mommy knows got a wedding and she want X amount of cake and mommy bakes some, she bakes some, you know. The things like salt in the meat and so. I don't really believe this is something that people should have forgotten. When you put the salt and the meat in the barrel, one of the first things you see walk out is the worm. And then you get to understand that that is what the worms that walking out is what going inside your belly when you eat it. So you got to flush it out fast. If you don't flush it out fast, you get parasites. I go to the doctor. They say, well, for the job, we're going to need a medical report. So I go to the doctor and say, they say, in order for them to consider me for the work, I have to get a medical report. They send me with the stool. And the woman in the lab, when she see me, she asks me, what's the man? Come talk to me. Why does he eat? I say, all them bush why you want hide up, cut down with wheat, is why does he eat? She said, because I want to know you get your body like this. People always just come to the lab. And when nothing else wrong with them, they got parasite. And every time you come here, not even a parasite you have. I said, because I don't, for over 50 years, I have not been eating the things that average people do. Okay. When last you see an ox? Tell me one country in the world where they got ox in abundance.
Talking about the oxtail.
And now you're eating oxtail. It's donkey tail and cattle tail they're selling you for oxtail. And you run into the supermarket, go buy it. Oxtail, oxtail, oxtail. And you could go down the market and tell the butcher, please give me all the cattle tail, them or sell me the cattle tail, them. And go home and get the real oxtail because our animals down here don't have in as much chemicals as others. Listen, I go to the agriculture and they tell me, well, if you want to be a farmer with animals, you have to buy. United Nations made it mandatory that in 2009 that you have to buy from the agriculture department. You have to be registered with the agriculture department, and you have to go and buy the hormones to put in the animals them. And the people who having the best meat ain't buying none. They got two or three goat behind there, and when they know they're gonna butcher the one year for Christmas, they're gonna butcher the one year for Easter, and they're eating a healthier meat. The meat no meat healthy. They're eating a healthier meat than the meat that you're buying in the supermarket. They're sending you to the supermarket saying that no, they're making food out of feces. You want to tell me that all the food what God put on out we got to go eat stool? No. I am saying that is only the scientists trying to prove something which is unnecessary. Why don't they go and make extracts from the plants and heal people for change? When you get sick, you get sicker. I am not discrediting any doctors. It's the system that has been implemented and been practiced over 100 years and the 1,000 years that they came into being. There are people who Dr. Sebi was doing such a great job. And they took him out because he said things like garlic is not good. Garlic is a poison. Garlic has a niacin. Many times when you don't eat food and you feel sick, is the garlic troubling your intestine wall because that is why garlic is bad for you. Garlic cleanses the body. It does a lot of things to you, but it eats up the membrane. And that is why you have to use it with discretion. I don't use garlic and I try as much as possible not to encourage anybody to put more garlic in the blood. There was a woman who, if she cook in here, you stop down the alley and smell the garlic in she pot. I go up and I tell her that is too much garlic she cooking with. And she tell me, I can't help I like me garlic and she husband can't eat. She food, yeah. Is the next woman food she husband eating now. And they just married now. Garlic, another thing that is very poisonous and is around us, but it's just to show you that it is poisonous in one sense. Castor tree. The castor tree is poisonous if you trouble it and you don't know how and when. You first got to look at the stem. You can't pick them when they're red. You got to pick them on the new moon when they're green. I don't know if you just notice it. Sometimes you go out on the castor tree, you see it look blooming and green. And then a couple days later you pass and the stem, or the stem going up to the leaves, looking red. That is when it's going through its processes. You shouldn't drink castor oil because it destroys the sperm ducts, not just kills sperm. That which produces sperm is threatened by castor oil. What you could do with castor oil, with the hard belly what Mr. Nital was just talking about, get a bottle of castor oil and get a hand towel.
Put it on top.
Put it on top of
Sleep
your
with
hard
it.
belly
Mm-hmm.
and throw on the castor oil on top of it. Wrap yourself in a piece of plastic, and I am promising you that when that stool start to move out of your body, you may get hemorrhoids because that what is down in your colon is much harder, and that soft stool can push it. So now you need to have an enema bag. There's nothing nasty about it. I grew up with a douche bag home, and the minute you see you and we used to use utensils, bathroom utensils, we call them po. When you see you go and you sit down there and your mother hear you, you're forcing, she ain't telling you nothing. But you're gonna see her take out the bag and rinse it out and hang it over the line, the clothesline, and she go in and she look at olives. And when she done chop up the olives fine with a knife, we ain't had no blender. Chop it up fine with a knife. She put it in the mortar and pistol it to pong. And she turn it over in the strain and let it steep out. And when it steep out, she get some warm water, put that in, and she say, come. I say, all right, you. Go inside, come here. And she bend you over and she shove it in that olives and water inside of you. And she tell you, sit down there. Lay down on your side. And you lay down on your side and she rub your belly. And you go under the tensile and you can't lift it up to go try it way. For how much stool and everything come out of you.
But female just use the douche bag to flush out the uterus.
Well, it is very useful, but flushing the uterus is a ticklish thing because the uterus cleans itself. And if you're going to be washing away the ingredients that your body produces
But
to
somebody
clean.
might have had an abortion.
No. I'm
Go
getting
ahead.
around to what you're saying. What you have to flush away that it must be with something that is going to replenish also or encourage replenishment, or you have to be vigilant and keep away from cohabitation. You will understand what I mean by
Mhm.
cohabitation, right? You have to keep away from active sex then. You have to allow your body the healing process that it needs. Don't study who telling you what they're saying because that is only them talking for them. This is you seeing about you. Now, that is why I chose aloes because aloes is a popular man-made plant, but it has evolved over the years to a point where you can use it in measure. I don't tell nobody drink aloes every day. I don't tell anybody drink aloes. If someone says they want to drink aloes, I would give them the same knowledge that it's a man-made plant, so it is not wise for you to be depending upon it 100%. The cactus does the same thing as the aloes. That's why when we were locking up and they wouldn't let us use the aloes and they dig up all the simple wiry tree, we went on the cactus tree. This is cactus locks. Feel it, you see how hard it is.
That's right.
So heaven and earth shall pass away, but these here don't go away. Them little stringy locks that you see come on because the hair going and you don't consider it as part of your imminent important life anymore. When every weekend you had to wash your hair and oil it down and stuff like that. There was the time for that. This is the time now we have already established that and we be on it. Cause we don't have many old rastas in St. Kitts. And I'm very not disturbed mad at it, but I am observing the fact that back in the 60s and 70s when I and my brethren, Judah and everybody like that, was citing Rastafari, there were many women who were also interested not only in locks and weed and that. They were interested in the levity too. They were interested in putting away the food. And one of the easiest way to put away the food that was poisoning them was to put locks on the head and become Rasta and learn to become part of that community and learn from other people how you could take lentils and make patty and you could put patty in burger. You don't have to go, it's a lot of feces and a lot that does make hot dog and hamburger from feces because the scientists have decided that they are so great now that they could take the old stinking thing and give you back to eat and laugh at you because they ain't eating none.
I want to back up. You got about 2 more minutes. I think it's 2 minutes past 10. We're supposed to stop at 10. I heard you spoke about castor oil.
Mm,
At summertime, people used to give the children castor oil or Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, and they had the same effect.
mm,
Same effect.
mm,
Now, you indicated aloes.
mm,
There was a police officer who went across Service Town and somebody threw caustic soda in his face. Really mashed up his face.
mm.
And he used aloes. And if you see him today, you'd have no indication that his face was once messed up with caustic soda just by using aloes.
And that's
So it'll extract, the smooth out.
mm.
You understand? So there's some connection
So
that
this
can
is
be
why I
made.
say it has evolved over the years
Mm?
because there is no way they could have taken two chemicals and make any plant. Garlic, aloes, broccoli, white onion, white cabbage, carrots. All of these are man-made plants. But over the years, they have evolved because carrots is made from a carrot which looks like turnip. It is purple on the top and white, the elongation part of it that comes in small is white. So if you know what a radish or turnip look like,
Radish. Mm-hmm.
that is where the carrot started. Then it was incorporated with something called queen lace, which is a plant that they use to clone many other plants or to change many other plants,
GMOs,
right? And then
genetically
they
modified
take
organisms.
they take the yam and they incorporate it with queen lace again. So you can't really trust the foreign yam. The Simangwali yam is the one to eat. The yam, they got a yam that is bigger than this table here.
The corn and the cob, they're genetically
You
modified,
can't and the
so
cup.
they do not use them in America, but they send them out
They
here to
send them
us.
out here to us. The bread where you just buy in town can't sell in America. That's why when people come down here, they buy a lot of them bread and carry them back up to the Caribbean. People will pay $10 for $2 bread, 10 US for two easy dollar bread because they long to get the taste of the lard and whatever we just put in with bread down here. Them bread can't sell in America. They can't sell in Europe. But they encourage us. For lack of knowledge, my people suffer. People go and get knowledge. The internet is there. Ain't everybody gonna be telling you the truth, but you're supposed to bring your spirit to a place where when you see the truth, you know it is the truth.
But we need a libido, a pragmatic one,
I would like to have contributed
demonstrations.
to anything like this, but each time I went to any one of the previous governments, they turned me down. They shut the door on me as soon as I walk in the door. I could remember 2003 when I come back from Tartola. I was so filled. Listen, this is what made me start coming around
You gotta
and
wrap up in a minute.
making people understand. Yeah. Because when I came back from when I went to Tartola and they saw Ilo, Chucky and I, we making tea, we picking bush out of the yard and making tea. This man walk up to me and ask me, what are bushes for? So I just over my shoulder just telling him, what is bushes for? Over my shoulder he just telling me. Then the next man asked me, that is the herbalist? I said, no. He said, that's the herbalist that come to talk about herbs. The man take me up on stage with him. He said, I met a fellow out there eating bush. I never seen nobody eat bush yet. I don't eat bush. I eat cock and hen. I don't eat moringa. I don't eat broadback. I don't eat leaf of life, what they call love bush. In the morning, I eat 3 leaves of them. Right down the tree, ain't got none.
Okay, we were rather informative. Got some messages from some people that they really enjoy the educational aspect. And as usual, whenever we meet, time ought to stand still and give us the opportunity to increase the volume of information we're putting out there. But it doesn't stand still, and 10 o'clock would have gone past us. It's 7 minutes past 10,
And
and we have to wrap up.
yes, well, in my closing, I would like to say thanks to you because you have always been there. You have met me on the road and encouraged me to make some time and come here. I would like to, in the not too distant future, go to some of the people who are encouraging me to write books, to go to them and ask them for sponsorship so that they can buy some time here, and we can make this a little more regular. It is the work of the Almighty that we should have met together. How good and pleasant it is that brother and sister
Well, in
come
harmony.
together in harmony. It's like the precious oil that run down the beard of Aaron and down to the skirts of his garment. It is like the dew of Hermon which sitteth on the Mount Zion. For there the Almighty has bestowed his blessing. Peace, love, and unity forevermore. Thank you everybody for listening to us. And we'll be back at some point in time.
Sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later. Blessing.
Okay. Enjoy what is left of your Thursday.
The opinions and statements made by the host and participants in this program are not those of the owners, advertisers, and management company of Sugar City FM 90.3, nor are such statements necessarily supported or endorsed by the owners, managers, or advertisers of this station. While we encourage all to share their opinions, we do not support any comments that may slander, discriminate, or otherwise offend